How's things for Rick? Oh, good. We've been good.
You
I've
could
been
complain,
good.
but it doesn't matter, so right?
You're retiring from what?
I work for Ogden City Planning Commission,
Oh, do you?
so I've been there for 43 years.
Oh, holy cow.
I actually was hired on by Weber County and transferred to the city in 1981.
When's your last day?
On the 30th.
Of
April?
Oh.
No, yeah, April.
really?
Yeah.
So like next.
3 days.
Wow,
Through my work days.
that's neat. It's like, why is this back up? Why is this back up here? Tammy, is the
Applicant coming?
applicant coming? Well, yeah,
Obviously.
yeah. So you represent the county in this. If they're not here, who represents them?
Was that
We
a
would
question
go
for
off
me,
first.
Rex? Or are you talking to someone else?
Oh, yeah, we can wait a minute because we've got a couple of things we can do. So why don't we start? Jeanette, since you're almost
I
retired,
will nominate a
not
temporary
yet.
chair as.
let's do Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
Jeanette. So, Rick, before you came, I had a little discussion with Brandon. I was actually nominated, appointed, whatever, in 22 as chairman, and 23 would have been my second consecutive year. So I asked him where we didn't meet, if under the rules of procedure that we have, if I can continue to serve another year, and he said it's probably best not to. So, that's fine. So I think our first item of business we need to do is move item number 3 up to item number 1 so that we can officially conduct business tonight. And so with that, and that understanding under our rules and procedures and guiding the Board of Adjustment to nominate a new chair and vice chair for 24. So with that, is there a motion?
Actually, I don't know all the members. So.
So that was my question. Who is on the board at this point in
I gotta
time?
remember on the board.
That's good.
Tammy should just shout it at me. Rex Mumford is chair, and then Bryce Froer. The alternate.
There's just 5 of us.
Correct. And then,
then you was the alternates.
and then there's an alternate, Neil Barker, and then Joe Postenbaugh is on the Planning Commission now. So we got to get someone appointed for him, but we were going to wait until June, and I was going to, because we do have 2 vacancies in June with Kevin Grimes and Laura Warburton. Their terms expire in June, so we were going to just do it all at the same time.
So what term rotation am I on, and what term is
Well,
Rex
you're
on?
you're eligible again.
You're eligible again. Rex is not. Commissioner Mumford is not. And yeah, so, and then Jeanette's term expires in 2025. And just so you're aware, Commissioner Mumford, 27, and Commissioner Frower, 27.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good.
If that
So-
helps.
I would, now, just out of curiosity, and I've read through this, the chairman can't serve 2 consecutive years, but the vice chair technically can serve more than 1 term,
He could.
or
yes.
she.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Or you could,
Has Laura indicated an interest in continuing on?
Yes. Yes, she has. But that's obviously up to the commissioners.
When you say,
Which
you mean
commissioners?
us or the county commissioners?
County
we're not
commissioners.
actually
Oh,
commissioners.
okay. Well, I don't know what we're called.
They're the Board of
We're a
Adjustment members.
Well, I would nominate Bryce Frower as chair for 2024.
Second,
Okay, any discussion on that one?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so Bryce Furrow will assume the duties as chair. We do, last thing, we need a vice chair for the coming year. And so I would just open that up as my last assignment.
Subject to Laura continuing, I would nominate Laura Warburton as vice chair.
second,
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Motion approved. Okay, so now Bryce, you can take over.
All right, so the first item on the agenda, number 1, is the minutes of the September 22nd, 2022. Is that the last time really that we met?
Yeah.
My word.
Yeah.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I read them, but I wasn't here at that meeting, so
I wasn't either. And Rex, it indicates that you were present.
Yeah,
Do you
I
have a
was.
recollection of the meeting, and are the minutes accurate?
Well, I read through the minutes I did earlier, and I didn't see anything that wasn't. I mean, actually, the motion that, or the action that we took was I'm just scanning through real quick, but I think we actually denied.
Yes, on page 5. Motion was that the Board of
Oh, yeah.
Adjustment deny BOA
There we go.
2022-04 appeal for conditional use permit because the burden of proof that substantial action on phase 2 was not met by the applicant.
And this was one where time had elapsed, and the applicant was trying to claim that they had done sufficient work, and the board did not feel that that burden had been met. So with that, I think the minutes are as accurate as I can recall, so I would make the motion and we approve them as they are written.
Perfect. Is there a second to that motion?
second,
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor of approving the September 22nd, 2022 minutes, please acknowledge with an aye.
Aye.
Passes by unanimous agreement, by unanimous vote. Item number 2 on the agenda for today, Thursday, April 25th, 2024, is BOA 2024-02, the consideration and action on a request for a 5-foot variance to the front yard setback and a 10-foot variance to the rear yard setback to facilitate construction of a single-family residence at 6743 Chaparral Drive in Eden. Tammy, I give the floor to you for explanation.
Thank you, board members. Good evening. First of all, I just want to make sure that this is mentioned in the minutes, that the exhibits that were inadvertently left out of the staff report have been distributed to the present board members as well as to our planning staff that are present.
We'll acknowledge that we've received those
Okay,
exhibits. Thank you.
thank you. If this looks familiar, it's because this came before you back on March 18th of 2021. Let me just kind of orient you a little bit to this piece of property. This is located in the FR3 zone, and I'll pull up an area map in a moment here. It's located in the FR3 zone. The total square footage of this lot is 6,534 square feet. And as you look at the presentation before you, it does meet that minimum lot area when it's tied to sewer. The setbacks, I want to make sure that I mention these. The minimum front setback in this zone is 25 feet. The rear setback is 30 feet. The sides are 8 feet unless one of them is street facing, in which case that side setback is 20 feet. I want to mention the maximum height of 35 feet because in some other types of subdivisions where we allow for smaller lots, we also allow for a taller building height. That is not the case in this particular subdivision. This is the parcel. It's located at the top of Powder Mountain Road in the Powder Mountain West subdivision, phase 1. I labeled the area of some of the adjacent lots here. As you can see, there is a parcel to the northeast that is the same size. However, the shape is a little easier to work with. This is what has been submitted to planning. The first image shows what the buildable area is adhering to current setbacks. The second image to the right shows the increase in buildable area if this variance request is granted.
Tammy, a question I have. The north side of this particular lot, is that within the requirements? The front seems to be on the west. Is that right?
Yes, let me go back to the map.
Okay.
The way our ordinance defines a front lot line is the parcel line that you cross to access your property. And so the applicant is proposing to access their property across here. So we would consider this their front lot line. The rear lot line is defined as the one most parallel to the front lot line. And so we would see this as the rear lot line, and these would be the sides. The applicant can meet the 8-foot request here. They can meet the 20-foot setback here. They're simply looking to be 5 feet closer to the roadway here and 10 feet closer to the rear setback. And I'll go through what the building footprints look like in the area so you can better understand what they're asking for versus what has already been constructed around them.
Before you leave this slide, does the owner of lot 19, is that also the owner of the lot 17? I'd have to go to the plat to see which ones are which lot, but are you talking about these two?
You can see their driveway.
Their driveway is almost a circular around the
Oh,
lot
I
we're
see.
talking about.
It does appear that way. However, this lot is accessed here.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this has begun construction and maybe they've begun clearing the lot. It's a good question. I should have thought to look to see if we have any permit applications for this parcel.
Tammy, also before you leave this, based on where they are the owner of the property of lot 16 is proposing to enter, if they entered from the same direction as lot 15, from 15, then you already said the back setback would be what you're viewing as, yes, that would
right.
become the back setback, which would not require a rear adjustment.
It may not require a rear adjustment. I do know that the applicant is looking at slope as well. And I'll show you a site plan with some topo lines. There is a slope upward that goes in this direction, kind of a northern direction. And I think the applicant, in an effort to try and maintain the architectural standards and styles that are current, I think they're trying to shape the footprint of the home in a similar way. And that's why they're asking for that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Sort of?
sort of.
Sort of.
What I
Yeah.
think you're asking is there a reason they couldn't enter here? Is that what you're asking?
Well, if they entered here, They entered from the,
Oh, from
that-
the narrow spot.
like their neighbor to the left of them. If they entered there, then then there's not a need for the rear setback adjust. I guess it all depends on where their house is, and they're trying to build a large house on a small lot.
They're looking for simply 1,000 square foot footprint. That's all they're looking for. And compared to the adjacent footprints, it is the smallest footprint being proposed. They don't feel that they could put that 1,000 square foot footprint on there without their variance request being granted.
The lot that's two over, I
Mhm.
keep referring, lot 18,
Mhm.
has a home on it. Almost
Yes.
well, it is identical square footage as far as the lot.
Right.
Just square.
It's just a lot nicer rectangular shaped lot. Do you know the square footage of that house?
I do actually. It's about 1,850
Really?
square feet is the footprint, and that includes the garage,
Okay. Including the garage.
including the garage.
And this other one, they're proposing 1,000 square foot,
1,000 square foot,
including a garage or not.
including the garage.
So they're building on top or whatever.
Mhm.
Have we historically, or has it been approved otherwise, to bring their footprints on up in the Powder Mountain development closer to the road, or is this one of those exceptions? Or are we? Is this the first time we've been asked to do this?
No, we have been requested to do this, not on this stretch of road, but on the south side, I think mainly because there's a ski easement that cuts
Mhm.
through the portion of their lots. So we have had a few variance requests. I think what's unique about this one is the shape. I think that's what makes it challenging. It's not so much the size, it's more the shape. And this is the only lot, if you look at the plat, it is the only lot this shape in this subdivision.
And 2 years ago, we said yes, I think,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, they have changed nothing. Nothing has changed about their request. Their building footprint, everything is the same. They just, per our land use ordinance, they have 18 months to act upon it, or that approval expires, and they have not had an opportunity to work towards improving that.
Has there been any change in zoning in the last 2 years that would affect this?
No.
Mentioned this early on, where they aren't here. Does it matter whether we approve or table, or what's the direction there?
I think if you're looking at some type of denial, then I think you should probably have the applicant here. If you're looking at tabling or approving, I don't know if that matters as much. But that's a judgment call for you to make.
Understood. Any other questions for?
So, Tammy, if this is not, so they're talking 1,000 square foot footprint.
Yes.
If this is not approved, can they not put that 1,000 square foot house on this lot?
Well, let me show you. This is what this next slide here. This shows their building footprint with the variance granted.
Okay.
So you can kind of see what they're looking to put in there. And they are, for the very small buildable area, they are looking at taking up a good portion of that area.
Where's their garage at? I'm trying to figure out how they're
Their garage is here.
Is it there?
Mhm.
So they're accessing off the road and curving up and in,
Correct.
kind of like that, like your arrow's showing.
Mhm.
And for my benefit, because my memory's short, it's typically 30 feet on the rear and 25 feet on the front.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you can imagine this shrunk down just a little bit, and I can go back to their previous slide. This is the current buildable area based on those setbacks. It's very triangular. They may have a little more area here on this southern edge, but it appears to increase their buildable area significantly. And again, it is uniquely shaped compared to the other lots in this subdivision.
So
Both the
currently,
shape and the hill kind of make a, kind of identify a hardship.
Yes.
so Tammy, lot 15 is built on and lot 18 is built on right now from your actual overhead. Have you received any comments from either of those property owners?
No. Here's a little bit of a larger aerial to show you how many of these lots are built upon and what the footprints range from. So theirs would still be the smallest footprint in this particular area of the subdivision. And these footprint sizes all include garages. So between 1,632 and about 1,900 square feet. Now some of these are more than one level. Some of them have a little bit of a walkout basement or a small basement area, but as far as just the general footprint of the structure, these would be the sizes, just to give me ideas to how much area they take up on those lots.
So when I look at this picture that you've got on the screen right now, several of these houses on the bottom, I'm not sure what direction anything is here.
They would be to the south.
To the south. Either these lot lines are misdrawn or
They're very
several of
different.
them have a lot line split with their neighbor or their house is split. And that's fine. They're probably misdrawn, but how accurate is the subject drawing in the example, what we're looking at on these other ones?
So let me explain the parcel boundaries that you're seeing here. These are parcel boundaries that are taken directly from GeoGizmo. And what we tell everyone, and there's even a disclaimer when you first pull up this document, is that we're applying a flat map of parcel lines to topography that is not flat. And so I think they're more meant to show relativity, not survey grade location. So it's not unusual to see, we have people come in because they think that a parcel boundary is cutting right through their house, and really all of the parcel lines have shifted in one direction or another.
So my question though, the subject that we're actually looking at today, is that one fairly accurate? Is that one accurate that we're looking at?
Yes. From what I can tell, from where the right-of-way ends, and these are all private right-of-ways up here, privately maintained. From what I can tell, these boundaries, as far as the location on the ground, look fairly accurate. Survey grade, no, I wouldn't say that. But they're closer than some of these to the south.
Okay.
So is the garage a two-car attached garage?
They don't indicate that actually in their building footprint. We haven't seen more detailed floor plans, simply the footprint and the square footage of that. That's a good question.
Does the code allow a reduced rear yard if you've got the two-car attached garage?
It doesn't allow that for that particular exception. However, our ordinance does require a minimum of 2 off-street or 2 on-site parking spaces per single-family dwelling. And I think typically, Rick, we have allowed 1 in the garage and 1 in the driveway. Is that correct?
They can be tandem then.
Mm-hmm.
So put the picture back up what showed their proposed dwelling. Yeah. That's a proposed dwelling. If we approve this, there's no guarantee that's what they're going to build per se, is there?
The applicant has indicated that this is the footprint they're going with. However, they have yet to get the 3D renderings drawn up until they know whether or not they can build this on this lot.
Okay. So this could change.
It could change, but if variances were granted, they'd still have to fit it within this buildable area. And as you can see, they don't have a whole lot of room to expand that.
I think the thing from my perspective, the way their garage, because their garage right now is facing east, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to face east and come off of that road, they have to put kind of a curved driveway in. You follow that thought?
I do. What I think they're planning to do is I think they're actually planning to enter the garage from this side.
Oh, right there.
Rough site plans have shown a fairly straight driveway coming in here.
Still, there's some curve to it based on what you're saying.
Sure.
Which makes the driveway a little farther from the street edge,
Mhm.
if you will.
So they need 20 feet in front of the garage for the second car.
I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
Right, we
So
could park
if
on
you're
the
going to have
garage.
2 parking spaces,
Mhm.
one's in the garage. If they have one in front of the garage, it's got to be another 20 feet, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we can talk about enforcement of parking within the front setback. I don't know that that is really ever enforced.
They could concrete the entire driveway from the road and park 1 or even 2 cars on the driveway plus 1 in the garage, and I don't think anybody would.
Right. Now they do
Say
have to
anything.
hard surface that driveway though.
And the elevation change, the way it sits, it slopes up or down. I have a hard time with topography.
From the road, it slopes up.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the county?
Did you say you also had architectural drawings of the other buildings in the area? I thought you said something about that.
No, what I did was I looked at county records at the
Okay.
footprints that they had just to compare the square footage compared to this one.
So we approved this a couple of years ago, or in 21, is that correct?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Is it the same owner?
Same owner.
Is
Yes.
there a reason that they didn't move?
They haven't indicated why. I mean, I can make guesses just given the economy and the cost of building homes over the last few years, but they haven't indicated why they haven't acted upon this yet.
Interesting.
So they would, if we approved it tonight, they'd have 18 months to pull a building permit and get started.
18 months from tonight, that's correct.
Questions, comments for the board? Is there a motion?
I would make the motion to go ahead and approve the variance request as requested. I guess I need to be more official. Fine then. I'd make the motion to approve BOA 2024-02, consideration and action for the 5-foot variance to the front yard setback and a 10-foot variance to the rear yard setback at the residence of 6743 Chaparral Drive in Eden or Powder Mountain area.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I'd like to add, based on the findings, that it meets the standards of the 5 criteria for granting a variance.
Is that agreeable to the
Yes.
party? Okay. All in favor of approving BOA 2024-02 as outlined and modified, say aye. Any opposed? It's passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The last item on our agenda is rules of order. Rick, I'll turn some time over to you to tell us how we're supposed to do this.
Thank you. So the rules of order, they need to be approved every year. There's probably going to be some modification to you approving the rules of order because state code has always required the legislative body to approve the rules of order, which I always thought was kind of strange why the board or the planning commission are approving the rules of order. And so we're changing our code so that the county commission will be approving your rules of order for you. But at the present time, you're in charge of approving the rules of order. And it's just basically how you conduct the meeting, how you make motions. Nothing's changed in these rules of order from the last time you met, two plus years ago or so. So
And so from that, I understand this is the set of rules of order that we've been governed by, or we've been using for
Forever.
years.
for a while.
Yeah.
That those may change based on what the county commission does. That's currently, in terms of making a motion and approving what we have in place, this would be the document we would be following.
Yes, that is accurate.
Any questions or discussions about this?
You know, as I looked these over, there was only one item on here that I thought kind of came to my attention, and part of that's because we meet so infrequently, is item K, non-performance or misconduct removal from office in the event any member shall fail to attend. And it says, shall fail to attend more than 70% of the meetings. It should probably be worded a little different, like failed to attend at least 70%, not more. But I'm wondering if that percent is, have we ever removed anybody for not meeting that criteria?
Not as of yet, but that always could.
I feel that bar's kind of high considering how infrequently we meet.
Right. And I think the reason why the bar is high there is because the board is so small. And so we're trying to encourage everyone to get here as much as possible. But I can see where you're coming from on that.
It seems the more people you have that can discuss it, then the better decisions you make. And when there's only three, it's not as good of a decision.
No,
as if
there's
five.
no question we want as many here as we can. I'm just questioning if we're actually, if we're following this item K, because I think we all know, even when we used to meet frequently, there were many members that weren't meeting that level.
Right. And we could have easily have put this into play and remove them.
And I think the qualifier there is the word may,
Right.
not shall or must.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had consistent
Oh.
or plus a couple of alternates here every time, it would be the so-and-so isn't really interested in participating here. Let's remove them and invite someone else.
Right. And I think that's why they have that language in there on line 2 is the may,
Right.
because I don't think the commission wants to remove anyone from here, unless, they may not be performing correctly, but I never seen that.
I'm comfortable with that, other than I still think that is worded incorrectly, where it says shall fail to attend more than 70%. In other words, if you attended 100%, then you would fall under this guideline. It should be less than, not more
I
than.
agree.
We can make that change.
Requires that I would move to make that change to reflect the accurate
Okay.
explanation
You
on that paragraph. Can I make
May
a
I
motion?
just add something as well from council?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Brandon
I think
Quinney is
Rick-
speaking.
Yeah,
Go
this
ahead,
is
Brandon.
Brandon Quinney. Rick, before you make that change and either propose it to the board for a vote, could you just work with me on that language? We'll clarify it together.
Yeah, you bet. And then we can actually bring this back to you in our next meeting.
That would be
Which
great.
may be in a
In
year.
18 months. That's fine. Yeah, we will make that assignment to council to make that modification correction, and we will address the issue at our next meeting, whenever that might be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Is there any other discussion on the rules of procedure and conduct?
I don't know that it's in here and I haven't found it, but I feel like the board ought to convene at least once a year at the first part of the year, if nothing else, to appoint or reappoint chair, vice chair, and approve these rules, at least until the commissioners take that duty over.
And last year I was debating whether to do that. And I was even thinking of doing it sometime in September or October, but we can easily do that.
Is there a reason we haven't, other than just?
I just didn't want to bother you guys.
Okay.
And so that's why I
agree. I think it would be appropriate in January of each year that we meet, whether there's an issue or not, to discuss this issue, discuss procedures, our responsibilities, those kinds of things, and then move forward. So I would agree with that. It would be helpful, I think.
I actually like September better. The weather's better.
And if by chance the commission is the one that approves your rules of order, it will be at least simply to meet to elect the chair and vice chair.
Anything else? That resolves the issues on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for being here, and hopefully it won't be quite so long that we're not able to gather again.
I was tempted to table that thing just so we'd meet again.